All right, we're live. Hunter x Hunter. Oh my gosh, 147. We've only got one more to go. What is it? Tuesday's it. I mean, maybe forever. Who knows, right? You know, maybe there's no more arcs. I don't know. Hopefully there will be a lot more. But I mean, wow. Even if there's more arcs, you know, it could be what 2016. Is there any way you guys think that 2015 we're going to get any anime from Hunter x Hunter?
Absolutely not.
No way.
Nope.
Okay.
We may get
All
some
right.
OVAs. That's like best case scenario, though, in my opinion.
That's best case. All right, so we're all seem to be pretty well agreement. 2016 seems to be the soonest, if ever. But hopefully there'll be a whole lot more. Hopefully that I have to tell you what, well anyway,
That's what the original anime did. The original anime did OVAs.
Yeah, it did.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
like Green Island was an OVA series.
So I don't know.
I'm hoping
Yeah,
at the end of this next episode, like we'll get maybe a little bit like a to be continued or something, or maybe some kind of hint that they do plan on resurrecting it as soon as possible, or just some little tiny hint.
one of the female animators said that they should think of this, all these episodes here, is just the beginning. But then again, she's not Togashi, so I wish he would speak more to his fans, don't you guys?
You can't.
Yeah.
She should be playing Dragon Quest.
Yeah, it probably is.
Oh, his mouth is probably injured.
Or something. Yeah, exactly.
His back.
Oh,
my back.
Okay, let's go ahead. Excuse me. Let's go ahead and start with Kite and the Koala. Okay, it got deep, and I want to sit there. I'm like, I mean, it got real deep. It got into the whole reincarnation deep. It got into, does the consciousness survive past the physical body? And this, of course, gets into Buddhism, Hinduism, Jainism, this whole thing, and then the whole goal there, to understand, like I said, I won't spend a whole lot of time on this, but a little bit. But Koala killed the young girl, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And he said that he broke the cycle. But see, that's part of the religious tradition, that the idea that you want to is to stop wanting to live so you don't keep getting reincarnated. And then once you do that, then I know we're getting deep in the woods here, that the spirit goes back to, like the original entity. You quit having to suffer as a physical being. It's kind of the concept. And I'm only bringing that up because that's what Koala's talking about. So he felt that he helped the girl break out of her chain, but he still keeps coming back, right? So
right. He thinks that he'll always constantly reincarnate and be in this cycle of where he's got to be a killer or whatever. So he's looking at the girl as his way of getting out of it. Like if he does good deeds with that, then at some point he'll repay the sin and he'll be able to escape that continuous circle of incarnating and
right. But remember what he said at the end. He went through the whole thing of his thinking, but then he said, "But I was wrong, because what I should have done is kill the people that were trying to hurt her." So he went at different stages of what he was thinking, what he should do in order, because he says, I was just thinking I'm helping her break out of her cycle just because it was easier to do that than was to take these people on, basically. That's what he said. So he got deep into the woods. I went in there and I'm like, wow, we're through 40% of the show and we're still with Koala, So it was pretty deep. DP Roberts, anything you want to throw in on there?
Just that it was interesting. Even though it was like this typical Buddhist concept of reincarnation, the Togashi went and mixed science into there, suggesting that what if the soul is something as infinitely small as an atom itself, and he goes into all this detail about how things as small as pollen can affect our health for like millions of years, like radioactive isotopes. Once they're in the atmosphere, they have a half-life of like 500 million years, and the cancer rate has increased because of it. Much smaller than that is the DNA double helix, and much smaller than that is the atom. So I just thought that was really deep overall. But yeah, it was an interesting mix of spirituality and science in there.
Yeah, I like what he did with that.
I'm glad it was
And yeah,
it was fully
Let
explained.
DP,
I'm sorry,
yeah,
go
DP
ahead.
Roberts, go ahead and finish, man.
oh no, just I've never heard anything like that before. It really got something that really got me to thinking. It came straight out of a Japanese anime, the most unlikely source there is. So I think that's just amazing on Tagashi's.
I mean, the scene is, the whole thing with Kite, right, is pretty, we're still trying to come to grips with this, right? How much this person is Kite, and it's, right? So we're still kind of getting to grips with that, and then Koala is explaining all this complex stuff, and they're all just sitting there having tea while this is happening. So I thought it was pretty crazy. Jam Spice, what did you think about the whole conversation there?
Yeah, I thought it was a beautiful conversation. One thing that stood out to me was I think I kind of see an overlap between something, right? Kalua's little sister, and something, right? The something
Nanika.
that is Aluka, right? So
No,
here's this.
Aluka is Aluka.
Yeah, we're talking about the koala bear with Kite in the beginning.
I just want to say that Aluka, the thing inside of her is called Nanika.
Right, Nanika. Yeah, but yeah, I understand it. But my point is that I'm seeing this theme where, between the koala bear and talking about, looking for something beyond what we see beyond this world, and something inside of Aluka, and this something that makes life worth more than what the koala originally thought it was. This something, this unknown, seems to be this, this theme that's across all these different storylines between Kahlua, Ging and Gong, and the other one, Karapika.
There kind of has to be. Just to kind of let you know, I find this interesting. I find religion interesting. I find science interesting. I'm more of anytime those conversations get too deep in this, I'm more a mechanical person. The first thing that Koala said, the way that he originally thought, we're just like bugs and we just live like, that's what I think. Okay, but I find it interesting. Okay, and to be honest, in science fiction or anything like that, fantasy or whatever, it's kind of way more interesting not to just live in a mechanical universe, but live in something that has different powers and different things going on. But see, where was I going with this? So anyway, so it's a broad area. But if you're talking about, I'm getting you. I believe that Jen Spice, you were saying you didn't really want to get into reading the next arc in the manga, unless you knew it was going to be finished, right? I think that's what you said.
Yeah, but I actually went ahead and started it.
Ah, there we go.
Yeah.
Drinking the Kool-Aid.
Oh yeah. It gets more interesting. All I'm going to say is there's.
Togashi's just laughing as he's counting his money and playing that Dragon Quest.
Doesn't? Oh yeah. Now, can I get everybody? Isn't when he returned? Doesn't he? To me, it seems like it's a lot darker when he returned since the hiatus, the manga. I don't know if you guys feel that way. It just feels like a lot darker.
Yeah, Karapika in particular. When we first saw him again, I thought he felt really dark.
But I'm not sure how far Jam Spice has got. So we'll talk a little more about that after. But and since we're talking about the manga and the anime, the part about Kite and Koala, was that not the worst that Tagashi's ever drawn in a manga?
Oh, awful.
The absolute bottom. It's like, where's the bottom with Tagashi? Right there. Right there. His back, he must have been just like crawling on pain meds or something. Just scribbling. You know, like with that
That's awful.
on the bottom of his hand, just kind of scribbling and just, oh my God, it was just the. Have you guys ever seen a professional manga or somebody at a high level that bad before anywhere at all?
No.
Nowhere.
It's
Togachi's
beyond me
one
why.
of the worst drawings I've seen. Togachi's. He's bad.
That was an amazing low, right?
Yeah, that's how I found out that he had back issues, because I was looking at the art and I was like, what is this? So I was like, there has to be a reason why it's so awful.
Is this like an artistic statement? Or
Yeah, it's like I've never seen it before.
But with Togachi, he's got a way of putting the words in front of his drawings so that you can forget about the artwork and focus on the story.
Right.
But yeah, it was, and like I said, I'm like, okay, I'm not reading Hunter x Hunter. I must have, clicked on somebody else's thing, right? When I was
You're right.
I mean, this is not it. There's no way I'm going in, and what made it worse is how weird and deep it was.
Right.
So he's at his absolute artistic low while he's hitting this kind of a high as far as the spiritual science mix kind of conversation, and then it was confusing, and then and we can definitely talk about this more, and then the second part, like I said, the thing that got me on top of the stuff that we brought up is that Kite was just like, he's like, Koala's like, yeah, I'm okay, I'm gonna leave, I told you my thing, and like no, you're gonna serve me, and every day you're gonna apologize to me. And I'm like, if Koala would have said that, said, I'm going to serve you to make amends or whatever, I would have understood it in the beginning, right? But for Kite, just to come out, someone that's really not, involved, I mean, because wasn't really him, right? So that really got me, and it wasn't until we stepped into the next part of the conversation with Gon, right? And which was interesting, having tea with Kite. And that was interesting. And but Kite told Gon gave Gon what Gon needed. Okay, the conversation. Hey, you do what you could do. Explain that, and no matter where you go, we'll always be friends. And it gave Gon. And Koala, I guess Kite could see that's what Koala needed. It was like the harsh discipline thing. It was the only way to get through to Koala, or to give the Koala what he needed. So that's what I took away from the whole part 1, part 2 of Kite's conversation. Okay, jump in. Was there anything about Gon? Where you guys feel better that Gon finally, get to talk to Kite, or a portion of Kite, or however you want to look at it?
It just felt weird. Like, that, like how Gon could just have that, conversation with this little girl and treat him like he's Kite, and it's just strange. I guess it was good in a way to advance. Actually, I don't know. I don't think it was really needed at all for Gon to talk to Kite. Like, we could have just got a letter like from Gon to Kite saying like, oh, how you doing? And, I'm gonna do my best to get stronger. And I guess the apology to Kite, like face to face, is important for Gon's character because he needs to make that apology.
Yeah.
And Kite also said like something along the lines like, we both were weak and it was my mistake, for like overestimating the enemy or underestimating the enemy or something like that. So, but I wish there was more that came of that talk, like if Kite would have said like, I'll get stronger and then we'll face the challenges together or something. I don't know, like just felt like there was more that needed to come out of that scene that didn't.
Right. Well, it was kind of, it was set up from, Gin, telling Gon, to go apologize, and, when you apologize to a friend, you never do it again. And, so it was kind of just checking off some boxes with Gon that needed to happen with Kite, right? Because, Gon did kind of go off the deep end. He went crazy and evil. Gon went evil and crazy because of that whole thing that went down. So I think it was just kind of needed to happen at some level. But I want to agree that it could have been. I think a little more could have been put into it, make it a little more interesting or something. But it was done. It was kind of short too, I thought. Okay, anything? Yeah, go ahead.
Does anyone think that Kite's death was cheapened by him coming back into this little girl? Because Gon's character development in the previous arc was extraordinary, and it all centered around this character's death, and now all of a sudden, here he is again, he's a little girl. So,
Yeah,
does that cheapen it for any of you?
Well, not if it's part of his ability. Didn't he have a weapon that was a randomized thing? So when he used that one ability of his weapon, it transmitted him back into this form, right? So if it's part of his ability, then I don't think it's that cheap.
Yeah,
Well,
but
wait a minute.
we didn't
D.B.
know about
Roberts,
that ability.
It's about characters dying and coming back. Is that the main problem?
Well, just, I mean, when you consider the extraordinary development around Gon's character around all this, the fact that he lost a very close friend to himself, and now there he is again. I'm just wondering if anyone else feels that this cheapens it, because why couldn't Kite remain the martyr for...
I didn't. I don't know. Anthony, do you feel it cheapened Kite's death in coming back?
Yeah, absolutely. I think
Okay.
I think he should have stayed dead. I almost feel like Gon getting a second chance, being able to talk to Kite, it kind of like. I think he learned his lesson, but I think it kind of it lessens that lesson. If you understand what I'm saying, like it lessens the impact of what he could have learned if he didn't have that opportunity to speak to Kite again. And plus, Togashi made it really vague. You know, we have this little girl who's supposedly Kite, and we have that chimera ant with the tail that's calling itself Kite, who's the king's sister or whatever it is. There's like two kites, and it's vague. It's not very clear. And then there's this asshole with he had this random gamble with his clown thing that made him do. It's just It's one of the few times I've ever felt that his writing kind of dipped. It was a bad choice, in my opinion.
Yeah.
For him to bring him back. So, but
Okay,
that's just me.
Michael Gethman?
Well, since we didn't find out about his gambling ability until the end, it does, if you look at it from that way, it does cheapen the guy's death. I mean, I was shocked when I saw that he came back in a different form, and it was a completely different form. It was a girl instead of a guy, and I thought that was really strange. And then it was explained that it was that random gambling ability, so that made it okay for me since he explained it like that, but it does cheapen the death in that way.
Jam Spice, did it cheapen you at all, or?
That's something I didn't even really think of. I'm okay with it. Well, actually, now that I think about it, I mean, considering how Gon went crazy and he kind of went dark for a second, I guess it would have been nice if Kite stayed dead because he would have had to deal with that regret a bit more, and maybe the story would have gone in a different direction.
And NWO, I'm going to get to you for a moment, but I didn't have a problem coming back because I'm simply salivating at what Togashi's going to do with Kite. Like I say, Kite is the queen now. Royalty is the only surviving royalty of the Chimera ants, and how Kite and all these other Chimera ants are going to do. I'm just like I say, salivating at it. So maybe I'm just too forgiving of what you guys are pointing out, obvious problems with it. The thing I had is that unless you read the first chapter, thanks Anthony for telling me to go back and look at it, you didn't get enough support to understand how important Kite was to Gon. It was kind of thin, even that way, right? What this relationship, it didn't show the strong relationship and why he would freak out that much. Right?
Well, you could kind of feel that, though, because Kite was a friend of his father, and he always wanted to see his father, so I could feel that strong connection there as he wanting to be with Kite.
Right, but you read all the manga. You read chapter 1. See, if you would not have read chapter 1, in the anime there's not really much there. It was something Anthony pointed out to me to begin with.
It's that much different?
Yeah.
Okay,
Wow.
that scene is still there. It's just displaced. It's in a different. It's in the totally wrong spot. It's like, I think it's in the same episode as when he dies, isn't it? That scene that they put with the whole fox bear cub thing.
They flashed. Yeah, it's not in the beginning, so I
No,
guess I don't remember.
I think they put it in episode 85 where Kite dies, and seeing it there and then not 10
It's
minutes
too
later
late.
seeing his death, yeah, it's too little, too late.
Okay.
Pretty much.
NW Order. Did this whole thing cheapen? Did Kite coming back like this? Did it cheapen it to you?
I gotta say that I think that Kite should have stayed dead because, like D.B. Roberts is saying, it does cheapen the character development that Gon went through, and it would have been even better character development that after Gon came out of his coma, that he would take time and reflect on Kite's death, and then like have a talk with his father or something. They could come to grips with it together or something like that. Use that to bring them together or something. I mean, as it is now, it feels like he became a girl out of nowhere. Like, we were talking about it once, and I was like, Kite's a girl? I had totally forgotten about it.
I remember
It
that.
was so irrelevant to me and, so out of the blue. So I completely just erased it from my mind, and I think it was just weird. Yeah, it was weird, a weird decision. I don't know why that decision was made. I hope it's because of some kind of future team up with Gon or something that the author has planned. Because otherwise, I don't get where that came from at all. So, as far as I'm concerned, Kite should have stayed dead.
Even more, adding more to the weirdness. When Kite is there as a teenage girl, remember one of the traveling companions, that teenage girl that always would chew the gum and blow the bubbles?
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, she's out there in the waiting room, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, they're peers now. They can hang out.
And I have one more thing to add real quick. Like, another thing is now that he, or I guess I should say she,
right.
is still around, if that character Kite is involved in any future arcs, and I don't really see how there's a way of that character to be put in a situation where death is an option and it seemed real because the character's already died.
Right.
So how's it going to die again and still have that impact? You know what I'm saying? It kind of breaks his character, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, once they die and come back, it's like Kakashi. They normally have like a death, immunity or whatever, right?
Exactly. That's a perfect example.
It's another term for it, but yeah. So, I like I say, I just purely for my own future amusement with the effects of this character have completely overlooked the obvious problems that you guys are bringing out with this. Okay, now, is there anything else about the whole Kite portion of this anime anybody wants to bring up before we move on? Anything?
I'll bring up again, like I said before the chat. Do you guys think that maybe the reason Kite came back as a girl is because of his weapon? Because if I remember correctly, I think Gin said something to Gon about Kite's weapon being special and like it always adapts to save him or something like that. What do you guys think about that?
Is that supposed to be plot protection?
Yeah, plot protection.
Pretty much.
I think Togashi wanted to bring Kite back as a girl and then just did it. And it kind of filled it in. So, and I think that's what you guys are picking up on, that wasn't necessary and it didn't have to happen. It was something Togashi, gave enough reasons, plausibly do it, but it's just something he wanted to do.
And he's supposed to be a Chimera Ant now, right? He's supposed to be?
The Queen. I'm sorry, the royalty.
Yeah, he's supposed to be.
Well, supposedly
royal.
there's two of them, aren't there?
No, there's just one. There's the one that's rapidly growing.
Well, because I was whose review was I watching? I think it was for Neverworld. He mentioned that there was two of them now. That little girl that he was talking to gone, and then the one that they showed.
No, what
I
you're
don't know, 10
no,
episodes
no.
ago. They had the
What
tail.
I think you're showing is no. That was the confusion because remember the guy that's watching her thought
Yeah,
that
Colt.
was his sister, Colt, but that isn't his sister. The one that looks like an ant with an ant head is his sister.
Right.
So
He
that
said
was
it was
the
calling
confusion.
itself Kite, though.
He
In the episode, he said it's calling itself Kite, which
Well-
is confusing me at least. I mean, I'm obviously confused. I don't know.
all right. Well, anyway, now well, there's different. Just the cult. Let's look at the cult aspect of this real quick. He thought that Kite was his sister. Okay, but Kite is not his sister. And he's like, no, I'm Kite. Okay, and like I say, his sister actually went home. Remember the aunt that went home,
Yeah.
got recognized incredibly by the mother,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That was the two. That was the problem, and that's where everybody freaked out, and Morel's like, oh my gosh, it's Kai. So the sister that he was trying to protect and thought he was actually got home and looks like a real ant. So anything else kite wise before we move on?
I think it's going to be neat to see Kite when she gets older, because we'll be able to see maybe stronger ant powers combined with maybe a new looking weapon.
Can you imagine? That's why I'm saying. This is just the fan in me.
But we
I
may
don't
never
care
get
if it's
another
fan
chapter
fiction.
either.
Doesn't
Well, we
look
may
like
never.
an ant,
We may
though.
never. But the potential of it, just oh my gosh, we got ant. I mean, if I ever see him with the gun again, and he's got these awesome Chimera powers, because kind of, if you think about it, would have to be souped up in order to be successful as they move on.
Yep.
I'm saying like he looks like a normal girl though, with human ears and human face. Like he doesn't look like an ant at all. I don't
And that's the
think-
thing, like that thing that was with Colt, it had a tail, and it had different colored hair. It looked nothing like this little girl in this episode, and I think that's where my confusion is coming from, because they look like two different things. Maybe it's just the evolution of the character being a Chimera ant.
I don't remember this one.
Like, if you go back, it was in the 130s or something, where he was like, I'm not going to dwell on it, but it's just, if you go back and look, it's weird.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize there was any inconsistencies with that, but okay. All right, anything before, because once we get into the next thing, I don't think we're coming back to the kite thing. Okay.
No, just hopefully we see something good with Kite now that he's back. Hopefully he becomes this really strong female character in the future.
That's so weird.
Sounds terrible to say, but
You have to have fun with it. You have to have fun with it. I'm glad you're on board with that now. Just have fun with it. Roll with it. Make strong. Okay. Kite. Okay. All right. I mean, remember he apologized again. He's sitting there crying when he meets his father, and he's like, "I'm sorry, the Kite's now a girl." And he goes,
That was hilarious. That
"Oh,
was the best part.
the whole thing." And of course, Gin is like, "Oh gosh, I don't need that here. We don't need all this going on." Okay, anything? Jam Spice, was there anything Kite related you wanted to bring up?
No, nothing.
Okay, because like I say, let's go to the next part, because once we get into this, that's where he shifted gears and got me. Gone, Killua and Aluka. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
The culmination of the entire series in like a few scenes.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, and for me, it's funny because I would say probably a lot of people, let's be honest, could have done without the whole kite thing. Right? Okay, I'm just going to be brutally honest. I thought it was okay, but I think a lot of people could have moved on without it. But this part, oh my gosh, the feels, I'm sitting there like all the character development, all the stuff they've gone through, right? Their friendship, everything,
It was awesome.
Oh, and then it was crushing because I'm like, oh my gosh, and who knows how many more chapters we're going to get, and as this is almost the end, and it just it just hit all this stuff together and the way that he did it, and yeah, it was really something. And remember the whole thing with the tour guide talking about how dangerous everything is, Right, only 1% actually die and do this, and they're all just they're taking photos. They completely ignore their tour guide the whole way through. And I thought that was hilarious. So here he's got the humor and he's got the nostalgia and he's got all the stuff, and they're just being like tourists. They got the whole tourist thing for the big tree, the big world tree, and
then how they use the old I think it was opening or ending 3 theme.
Yeah.
In the ending, then they showed all those scenes.
Yeah.
With them from throughout the series. That was just, God, it really got to me. It just made it so much better.
All right, let's go around the table here. Okay, DP Roberts, what did you think of the whole that whole part of this 147?
You mean just the goodbye scene?
Yeah, the whole goodbye scene with him. Yeah.
Well, it was certainly really nostalgic. It makes you think about all the development you've seen between these two characters since almost the beginning, and now time to say goodbye. They're parting ways. So yeah, I thought it was a really nice scene overall, and it really hits home that that this is going to end soon. Just one more episode, and that's it. And after that, just 9 more chapters of the manga, I guess.
How did you feel when you? Yeah, I'm sorry. How did you feel when the two walked past each other? Killua and Gon walked past each other.
Yeah, it was really bittersweet. I guess that's the word. Just that you see all the development between these two, and they're parting ways. So yeah, it was a really nice scene. One part of this I didn't like was Killua's statement to Gon that, as far as I'm concerned, Aluka is number 1 and you're just number 2 as far as I'm concerned. And I just had kind of a problem with that because we didn't even know Aluka existed until recently. All this time we believed that Gon was the most important person in Killua's life, that Killua didn't even know what friendship was before Gon, and now he's got this new brother or sister or whatever they have this great friendship with. So yeah, all that kind of came out of nowhere.
I see your point there.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I never thought about it, but Killua was like, emotionally dead when he moved on, and then pretty much the killer and all that, and then all of a sudden, after being friends with Gon and leaving, and all of a sudden Aluka's in his life, and it's like flashbacks of him being kind to Aluka. I think it's supposed to be like when before he was tortured, he was kind to her like that. He was much younger, but yeah, I agree that's a little iffy, like that he was able to have that affection for Aluka, and yet started off emotionless and killer and gone and stuff. So, yeah.
Well, I think it was because of the thing they put in his brain that shut that part down or whatever. I think that's what it was.
You mean
the implant?
Rumi's
needle
thing.
That Illumi put in there, yeah. So I think that's because he's like, wow, I've totally forgotten about her and everything. It's, there's something he'd missed. I don't know. She or he's. I say she. It's family. That's his. And when you look at how they grew up together, and all that, I could see it. To me, it didn't slight Gon. Although he owes Gon a tremendous amount, but the other one's flesh and blood, so somebody that he actually grew up with. So I could, I could see it.
So he has to put Aluka first. If he doesn't put Aluka first, then he should just be kidnapped and controlled by the family again. There's no choice. He has to devote himself to protecting her. But and plus, even if she wasn't taken by the family, anybody could just take her and use her power to grant wishes and stuff. So,
right.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, But like Roberts is saying, it kind of feels like that was never part of Killua's character until she just popped up out of nowhere. So I get the feeling talking about.
Yeah, all these are legitimate issues.
Yeah.
You know, like I say, I don't have a problem with Aluka being there, but the thing is Gon is the person that freed Killua. So Killua wouldn't be where he's at with the relationship with Aluka or any of this if Gon hadn't freed him. He'd just be a little killer, right?
Right.
Okay, so I understand that. All this stuff's true. Jam Spice, what do you think about this, the farewell?
It was a nice farewell. I didn't get emotional or anything. If nothing else, I'm just excited to see what path Killua is going to walk. Now that he's outside of the direct influence of Gon, you know, he's out in the world alone. These two young kids, out in the world alone. So I'm just going to see what's going to happen because, yeah, his family lifted the restriction, but is it because they now, I mean, Illumi hasn't given up, so I'm just really curious to see what will happen. I was never really interested in Gon. I tend not to like main characters in series,
Right.
so not too interested in him. I am interested in learning more about Ging, but yeah, that's about it. I didn't get emotional or anything.
I did. I admit it. I did. It really was hitting me on multiple buttons, so I really, Michael Gethman, how do you feel about the feels?
Oh, it didn't hit me very hard either because it's not like it's the end of the series. So I am more excited than anything else because I'm waiting for, the next chapters to come out and wait to see where the story goes. As far as nostalgia, sure, that hit me, but I wasn't very emotional because this isn't the end of the series by any means.
Right. Well, if Togashi ever squares away, his stuff, then this can keep going. Hopefully, I don't know if you guys have heard. I'd read that he's going to get treatment. Because one of the I think it was from Crunchyroll. Their kind of press release or whatever was like they alluded that he's going to get treatment and that he should be back, to work or something after he gets treated. I don't know if he's getting an operation or whatever. But so hopefully he gets fixed. Okay, let's see.
I think we've all said it. He needs to get somebody else to
yeah, the art. Yeah. Yep, I had to agree with that 100%. And I have a lot of people I'd like to do that, but yeah.
Maybe he should just be like Stephen Hawking's and do the texting by voice and have somebody draw. Maybe that's the best route.
Well, as fans, as long as the quality was high, I'm sure we could live with it. I don't know if he'd be too happy to be next Stephen Hawking's, but it's as long as the material keeps rolling out there, guys.
That's right.
That's it. Keep that feeding tube rolling on that guy. We need him. We need more stories. Okay, I think we're pretty much at the end because it's really the setup for the reunion, right? The whole get it gone, the next. Say too much about it because maybe somebody hasn't seen it before. Then we'll get. I want to go ahead. Okay, now is there anything about 147 that you want to bring up before we go into just a general Hunter x Hunter spoiler loaded discussion? Anything 147?
There's a strange. I did want to mention. There's kind of a strange role reversal between Gon and Killua. Throughout the entire series, I mean, Gon had a goal. He wanted to meet his dad. He wanted to become a hunter. He did most of that, so now he doesn't really have that goal anymore. It's kind of unsure of what he's going to do in the future. And then you have Killua on the other hand, where he was kind of just tagging along with Gon most of the time, and now he does have a purpose. His purpose is to protect his sister. So it's kind of like it's just this role reversal that I wasn't expecting when I got to this part in the manga. That it would kind of make Gon like irrelevant from now on, sort of in a way. And that goes on to what happened recently in the manga with his Nen and stuff. But it's funny how he kind of just put them. He switched their places in terms of their functions in the series.
It's a very good point. I actually want once we start talking about general discussion, I'm going to talk about the manga portion of that, where Gon goes next. Thought that was awesome. But okay, anything else? 147. Anybody wants to bring up? Getting ready to move on. Okay, we'll open discussion now on Hunter x Hunter. Spoilers. If anybody doesn't want to get spoiled, get the hell out of here, because we're just going to talk about whatever Hunter x Hunter. Okay, if anybody isn't, as a matter of fact, if anybody isn't completely okay, is everybody here caught up with the manga? Maybe I should be asking this right now.
Nope, not me.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
at chapter 341, but I'm okay with spoilers.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, okay, because we're gonna. Well, DP Roberts, do you want to get out? I like you, man. I want you on every one of my discussions, but I don't know if you want to get spoiled.
Yeah, well, I'm moving on to the manga straight after the anime ends, so no, I don't want to be spoiled, so I'm out of here.
All right, man. Well, I'm going to keep having hangouts, especially whenever the chapters come back, and please do come back, man, all right?
Yeah, thanks for
All
being
right.
here, man.
Yeah,
Take care, dude.
sure. Yeah, I'm going to be optimistic that Tagashi's back gets better soon, and we're going to have these hangouts in a couple weeks from now. I'm optimistic, people.
One quick thing before you go, before everybody goes, and make it just super quick, is I am, like I say, on Sundays, and I guess since everybody likes late, I am going to have late, and I will be doing like a news hangout thing. Maybe a couple people might be interested in that. That's it. That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to start doing those like once a week. General discussion. I realize most people aren't interested in that, but I'm just saying that. All right. Well, anyway, DP Roberts, I'm going to keep scheduling these things. Please keep showing up and leaving comments.
Okay, will do.
All right,
See you
take care.
guys next Saturday.
Still waiting for you to comment on my One Piece video. Where's your comments? You're the consistent commenter on there. Come on,
Oh,
Bill.
his writing is amazing. I wish I was anywhere near that. Okay, so Jam Spice, you say you don't mind getting just totally having it completely destroyed and ruined and trashed by hearing stuff in the future. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I'm the kind to read the end of a story before I even started, so it's okay.
Okay,
Oh, I
well, what do you
think I
think
care more than
about
she does.
Gon's return to Whale Island?
Sorry, can
Oh,
you
wait a
repeat
minute,
that?
Anthony, you're caught up, right? Wait a minute, Anthony, you're caught up, right?
Yeah, I was just saying, I think I care more about it being
Okay.
spoiled than she does.
Oh, okay, yeah, I got you. Yeah, what do you think about Gon's returning to Whale Island?
You talking to me?
No, I'm talking about Jam Spice. Jam
Oh,
Spice.
okay.
Oh, where did he return?
Oh, you haven't read it yet?
Oh, no, I'm at chapter 341.
Okay. Well, I don't know where
Yeah,
that.
I'll just listen in.
Oh, I don't want to ruin it to you. His going home is hilarious. Tagashi can get into these completely different angles on stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It feeds into the whole thing. He doesn't have motivation anymore. He doesn't have this, and just say, as much as you can get reality to crash down on something that's just fiction like this, reality crashes down on it pretty freaking hard. I actually loved it. It was a really, I'm an action junkie, but it was really nice to see what happens with the hero when they're not the hero anymore. It was delicious. Okay,
Gon has never
anything?
been the hero. Gon has always been the psycho. Gon, like, he helps people and stuff. He's got friends and everything. But, like, he does things that are downright not heroic. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, the way he fights. Is anybody else going to back me up here?
Well, is it so we're going to open up a debate on whether Gon is or is not a hero? Okay, but I mean, is there anything Hunter x Hunter wise you want to talk about? I mean, if you want to debate this, that's fine. But is there anything you want to talk about just in general? Anything with the series? Because, like I say, who knows how many more of these hangouts there's going to be? So please let it go. If you got any, if you're holding on to something, just let it go.
I was just thinking, that Gon doesn't seem, that heroic. He's more like a selfish. Gon is very selfish and does a lot of stupid things just because he loves to fight. He's more like a Saiyan, in my opinion, than he is a hero.
Okay.
I definitely agree with you. I mean, I never really looked at him as a protagonist. He's more like just who we focus on, and he just does things. He reacts to situations, whether it's positive or negative. He's like he's like the reaction of a chemical in its purest form. You know what I'm saying? Like he'll do something different no matter what you put him in. It's not he doesn't have like that. What's the
Yeah.
word? Like
Not
kind of
predictable.
like a predetermined reaction to some things that you
Yeah.
expect him to do this or you expect him to do that. He just does things. You know.
Yeah.
All these people are complex characters. Like I've said many times, what makes the quote unquote good characters interesting is the bad parts in them, and what makes the villains interesting is the good parts in them, or even because doing bad things for a good reason or whatever. A lot of different the motivation, everything makes them. These are complex characters.
The struggle too.
Yeah, the struggle. But like I said, I didn't realize just using the word hero was going to create a deal. So I wasn't planting my flag and saying he's a hero. And
Nobody was
I
jumping on it.
was being very I was just being very liberal with that word, just kind of throwing it out there. But as far as they're very interesting characters, and what I really like is the motivations for the characters, which is kind of like what we're talking about. Gon's main thing from chapter 1 is gone. Right, or it's getting ready to completely close the loop here next, episode.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, where does he go from here?
That's the question.
Well, I wonder if he has to get like his men reactivated, like the way that Wing activated his and killed his men. He forcefully activated it. Maybe he needs to get that done to him again, because maybe Aluka brought him back to a point where he never mastered him. He brought his body back to a time where it wasn't awakened or something.
I feel pretty confident something will end up happening eventually, but just like Tagashi's done in Yu Yu Hakusho, he likes to power down these guys for a short period of time, and so you can see what other people can do, like Kurupika, and other characters. And I think everybody's really waiting until Leorio can open up to some level. I don't know if he's ever really going to be, all that great, but it's nice. It's amazing. Like I say, it's amazing in the chapters to have like your two, gone and Killua removed from the situation, and you still have an amazingly interesting story going on.
Does anybody know of a manga that's done that besides Hunter x Hunter, where they go along with the two main characters, and then they go, maybe I'll use them a little later in the story?
Yeah.
It's amazing right now.
Kurupika is a pretty interesting character. I mean, as much as there's been a lot of, or not much to Leorio. I like Leorio's character. It's just not, completely fleshed out to us.
Leorio is just very passionate. He's a very passionate character.
So, but I mean, Kurupika has been, to me, I felt like, wow, this, every time we've seen this character really go, there's like the whole story and everything's just there, to happen. So that kind of helps.
Kurupika is kind of like a contradiction. He's always calm, but like at the same time, he's got a side to him that he loses sense of his rationality, and then he lashes out in anger. So it's kind of like these two sides of the coin. One side is calm and calculating, and the other loses his cool and lashes out for revenge. He's complex, Kurupika.
It's almost as if he uses his calmness as like a mask.
Mm-hmm.
Under that mask is just this like is gone, I guess. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, and it's all, and of course, the manga and everything is all with Kurupika now. I mean, that whole thing with the ship and everything going on. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I'm pissed off that we don't get to see what happened with the monkey. Like I wanted to like see the monkey get caught. Now it's just gone.
And then, and the Fourth Prince. Oh, the Fourth Prince. Can't wait to Kurupika and the Fourth Prince meet. Oh, yeah. Hey, Kurupika, look at my shrine. I got one similar to yours. Look at it. Oh, it's going to be interesting.
I mean, Tagashi's got to have like stuff done in advance. I mean, you're gonna tell me that they can't have like at least a few chapters to put out when he's down? Maybe his editor can spruce him up, you know, and maybe he can, you know, I'm sure his eyes still work and his mouth works, so maybe he can't sit there and draw, but maybe he can tell his editor like, hey, just spruce these chapters up and put them out in my absence. But no, he's got to milk it and just.
His
It's
eyes
cool.
work, his
It's
mouth
cool.
works, and his hands work.
I am all Anthony. I'm surprised how many times every time we get into hiatuses with Gashi that people start going into misery mode. You know, where they're going to go and they're going to hobble him and they're going to put him into bed and threaten him.
Because it's so good. You're not allowed to be that good and not be consistent.
That's right. Do you know what would happen if we did that with Naruto? We really wouldn't care.
Well, I might care now, but you asked me a couple years ago and I wouldn't care.
Well, the way that it's been going lately, I don't know.
It's on the final fight now, so everybody would be really.
I care now. Let's put it that way. A few weeks ago, no, not at all.
Right.
Speaking about waiting, a lot of people have been waiting for this for a long time, and he's rolling it out well. So
very well.
Jem Spice, are you familiar with the book Misery or the movie?
I am.
Okay, yeah, that's where we went. That's where we went. I just want to make sure you weren't missing. I'm an old guy, so I just want to make sure you're not missing some old movie reference, you know.
Oh,
yeah,
Misery.
I feel bad sometimes, you know, because of course Togashi's it's a human being at the end, but I'm with you guys, man. It pisses me off because it's so good.
We should be outside picketing.
I don't know who. It was either King of Lightning or Forever World. He put out a video and it had a whole graph of his years.
It was Forever World.
Was it Forever World? Yeah.
Yeah.
There was at least like 5 years where there was just nothing.
Yeah.
There was maybe 3 chapters a year.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god, dude. It's not fair. It's not fair.
Someone needs to cross-reference that with the Dragon Quest release schedule.
Oh man, that would be brilliant.
I've been waiting for that. Yeah,
I think what we need to do is we need to shut down Square Enix so they don't make any more games.
That's right.
That's what we need to do.
Cut off his happiness.
Oh my gosh, it is so good. Okay, anything? I think we're getting toward the end here. Anything at all you guys want to talk about Hunter x Hunter-ish? I don't know if we're going to get too deep into manga stuff because we've been covering it pretty well. So I don't know if there's. But anyway, I'll just go around. We'll do any predictions or anything. I'll just go to Anthony. Let me start with you. Is there anything? Predictions or look for the future or whatever? Because I want to wrap this up probably about the next 10 minutes or so.
Man, I know it's so far in the future, and we got a long way to go, but I'm still fascinated by Gyro. Like, ever since he was mentioned in the Chimerian arc, I want to know what his role will be later on, because it seems like this Dark Continent arc is going to be insanely long. But I want to know what his function is going to be, you know, how much of a threat he's going to be, if he's going to be a threat, you know, stuff like that. I'm really interested to see, and maybe he'll come into play earlier than I think, because I think he has an innate connection to Kurapika since he was going to Meteor City, and that's where the Phantom Trooper from. So I think those plot points are going to connect at some point. But he's, in terms of very, very far off future, he's what I'm interested in more than anything.
He's interesting to me too. Most people turn off because we don't know enough about him. And even because the hiatus, people are like, well, I wonder if he's actually going to... I'm sure he's going to come... He's going to be in the story. If he's still going to... Is he still in the story? So most people I've just noticed from comments and everything just really turned off on Gyro until we find out more about him. And I said 10 minutes, but I mean, if you guys really have more, then we can go longer. Jem Spice, was there anything you want to bring up or whatever? Hunter x Hunter Y?
No, nothing in particular.
Okay. Michael Gethman?
Well, I'm really interested to see what lives in the Dark Continent, and whether or not it's going to be a terrible thing or a good thing, and if people are going to have to fight over what's in it.
I have to say, I'm not even. People can't wait to get to the Dark Continent, right? I can't wait until the princes all get on the boat and the horn blows. It's literally, I'm literally satisfied with the boat ride there.
I want the journey more than the destination. I know what you're saying.
Oh
I get
my
where you're
God.
coming from.
I can't
Because it's
wait.
so twisted.
Oh.
You know there's going to be a conflict there, but you don't know what's going to be on the Dark Continent.
Oh,
Well, will
Jen
anyone
Spice,
even be left by the time
when
they
you
get
get
in?
You will
Jen
be
Spice,
left.
when you get more into the manga, it gets, like I say, really darker. And there'll be times you'll turn the page and you go, holy cow. That is after the almost full 3 chapters, which is almost like chapters in a book of text that you're going to have to read. Because he gets a lot of information. He goes kind of deep in there.
Very dialogue heavy.
Yeah, really. It's like cramming for a test because what ended up having to do. I don't know about the rest of you guys. Is we remember what we had to do with this first at least 2 chapters in particular. Is we'd have our discussions and we had to keep going back like it was a textbook.
I didn't understand the content until these hangouts. I'm not kidding you. Like the very first 3
Yeah.
chapters that he came off of, right after his hiatus, that were extremely dialogue heavy. I'm reading this and it's depressing because I didn't understand it. It was going in one ear and out the other. And I came into the hangouts and Steve and everyone else was there to break it down for me, and then I understood it. And it's just without other people, I probably would have dropped it and then had to analyze the chapters I had already read for months at a time because I just didn't understand it. And that could have been just bad translations. I don't think there's very good translations out there.
And I know a lot of people avoid the manga. I mean, I don't know. Let me ask you guys. You guys are a lot more anime than I am. I've been amazed at how, like, my reviews, the people are. It's the anime. It's like, it's almost always the opposite, right? It's almost always the manga, the new stuff that people are interested in. Not with Hunter x Hunter. It's only like a small percentage of the fans are really actually reading the manga. It's like they're waiting for the anime to come out so they can understand what's going on.
Well, also
really
they're probably afraid to get into it because it's frequently hiatuses.
Right.
A lot of people don't like waiting. They're probably the smart ones, actually.
Well, that could be understood. That could definitely be understood. So, okay, Michael Gethman, was there anything you wanted to bring up, Hunter x Hunter wise, before we close out, or?
No, I'm good.
Okay, you good? NW. It sounds like we've squeezed the toothpaste out pretty much. NW Order, you want to bring up any stuff here about Hunter x Hunter?
Just to say that what I'm excited about is to see the Dark Continent like explode and like create chaos in the world. Like, I'm foreseeing, that something's going to be on there that they lose control of, that they can't control it, and then it's just going to put the world into like this state of, constant despair, death all over the place. And, Gon has to struggle to get his powers back in order to help the people he loves, and things like that. That would be awesome. Seeing how the Phantom Troop interacts in this new world, maybe trying to protect their boss, or maybe the boss gets his powers back, and we can see how they'll interact with the world in that way. Like, that kind of chaos is what I'm looking forward to. I think that's how I'm hyping the new world, the Dark Continent to be. I'm hyping it like that because I feel like if they just go there and it's just some random treasure or something, and it ends up being like there's just a bunch of really freaky insects and animals there, it would be disappointing. I'm looking at it as like the Dark Continent is where evil, like, almost connected to Aruka. Because I think you said it before, Steve. You think like Aruka might have a connection to the Dark Continent.
Yeah.
Like, if there's some kind of like stronger power there than Aruka, like an evil that's just sealed away and bursts out and changes the entire world up. That's what I want. That's what I would really like to see. Everything just get flipped upside down, and you don't know what's going to happen. Everybody has to work together, try to fight this, whatever it would be. And then, other than that, I also really, just want to see Gon learn new abilities. I don't really like this whole rock paper scissors thing. I feel like you need to mend ability like Killua, like anybody else. You know, get a specific ability and really train it. And, you know, just see. And I would love a time skip. I would love to see Gon older, Killua older, and like you know, the hunters can totally change instead of being the same thing that's been up to now. That's what I would hope for, and that's what I'll predict. Right.
All right, that sounds good. Okay, one last round. Anybody got anything they want to throw out there real quick, and we'll close this out.
Yeah, I'd love. I'd really love a time skip. That reminds me. I want to see, you know, Gon and Kilo older because they've been kind of. I mean, they've had development, but their character models have been pretty static. You know, I
And
want to
they've
see
been
what they
kids
look
the
like.
entire show. They've been
Yeah.
like really 10-year-olds, you know. It'd be
Yeah,
awesome
exactly.
to see them as adults in it.
Yeah, it would really, and not even like maybe not even adults, just like teenagers or
Yeah,
something.
whatever. Yeah, totally.
Whatever.
Or even like see Don's dad, you know, King. Like he's really
Yeah.
good fight. He's really strong. I really want to see him fight all out too.
Well, doesn't this feed into what we were talking about before, which is the whole thing about, you know, Gon and Killua being out of it? We're like, wait a minute, we've got Ying and we got Pariston and we got all these bigger things that really Killua right now it's a wish machine with a sister, but I mean Gon and everything they're not up really to that level of what's going on, you know, Dark Continent wise, right?
No, they're not. I think we're due for a flashback too with the old Don Freaks thing.
Yeah,
I think
right.
we could do for like a lengthy flashback. You know, I don't typically like flashbacks, but if it's for stuff that I care about, then you know.
He's gonna have something to do with the Dark Continent, Don Freaks. He's gonna like be, you know, like have some kind of monument there, or some kind of he'll be part of the seal or something. Something will involve him aside from him just writing the book. I'm sure he is.
Well, and the whole thing, what Aluka is more than likely one of those creatures like the Prince have, right? I mean, it is, or excuse me, not Aluka, but the entity, something
Nanika,
else.
yeah.
Nanika is probably that. It's you know somehow Aluka got an egg, a seed, or whatever, and that creature is bonded to her, and that's you know that's what it is. That's what it looks like to me. Fits right in with it.
Mm.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Where did that egg or seed come from?
Oh, wait a minute. You're talking about out of the pot. Talk about what happened in the pot. Remember the egg that came out of the pot for all the prince, and then those creatures that bond with them.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah, because they're separate creatures, but their abilities and powers are, I guess, their strength is related to the strength of that character, and they feed off of. Well, a lot of these seem to feed off of negative emotions.
Right.
And but it's been seen that they don't have to be evil, right? It's like you know, Luca, you know,
She's not either,
or there's something else. It's not evil. Annika's, but it can be, but it doesn't have to be, right? Depends on how it's raised.
There's this innocence, you know.
Yeah, it's the egg. They're hatched. They bond. They're powered that way, and then they go through. So I think that's what we were seeing, whether we knew or not. Because I know my mind was blown as soon as the whole Aluka stuff started. I'm like, what in the hell am I seeing? When it went to the whole different mask, you know, the black and white mask, and I'm like, what in the heck is going on?
It makes sense. It makes sense what you're saying too, because they said those entities like exist separate from the host, and you've seen that Aluka is like pretty much asleep when Nanika's around, and it seems like it could exist without, you know, Aluka if it wanted to.
But they also communicate with each other.
Yes. Yep.
The question is how
they're bonded together. Huh?
The question is how did Aluka get one of those? That's the question.
Well, I would say that the father. I would say some of the people. Remember, they already know that there's one of the Zoldycks, at least one of the Zoldycks, that's been in the Dark Continent.
Oh,
I wouldn't
forgot
even
about
doubt
that.
that the father. I wouldn't even doubt. So there's already a family connection to the Dark Continent, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't doubt as powerful these people are that they haven't already gone there to farm to get certain things or whatever. Because they're at that level, right?
Yeah.
So the grandfather might have done that, yeah.
Yeah.
He's
So it
powerful.
could be somehow something happened. So to me, I don't think I think there's the possibility the connection is there, and the way the character seems to be in relation to the stuff we've seen later in the manga. To me, it seems to fit. It seems to fit well together. So. But okay, so I think we're done then, huh? Unless there is, like I say, one more thing. You know, we got one more hangout. I hope everybody shows up if you can. You know, to the next, what may be the last anime hangout. It's kind of sad, but
Yeah, that's depressing.
yeah, but yeah,
It is what it is.
it is what it is. NW Order, you want to say something? Or?
No, I was just saying, like, you know, it feels like the end of an era. Like you know, all of us are being in the hangouts and have fun, and all of a sudden, like, oh, no more anime hangouts. Like, what? Yeah.
Well, that's true too, because Naruto's coming to an end, and Hunter x Hunter is going to be, you know, sporadic or non-existent for a while. So that is true. That is true, and I appreciate
There's
everyone.
always One Piece.
She doesn't read.
No.
So I think we've beaten that horse enough.
Well, look, I went 40. Dude, I went 44 episodes deep. Well,
Right.
well, look at 40. Only 43 of them were necessary because 44 was the after party. So after the arc, so it was really just didn't care. Anthony, where are you on One Piece?
Still at episode 112. I actually took a break because it was just it's so daunting. Every time I watch it, I don't feel like I'm making any progress because
Right.
you know there's so much of it. It's not that I'm not enjoying
You're
stuff
looking
I'm
at the
watching.
mountain, right?
Exactly. And I need to look at the now instead of the mountain, and it's so hard to do that. I feel like I'm going to be watching One Piece the rest of my life, you know. So.
All right. All right, well, on that note, let's go ahead and close this out. We chat for a couple of minutes before afterward. All right, I appreciate you guys are awesome, and just as been said many times, these hangouts, especially with stuff like this, make this so much more fun because it fills in a lot of gaps, and they're just, for me, are a lot of fun. I really enjoy getting everybody's perspective. And
Hope you do a
yeah.
Kill la Kill one for the last Kill la Kill.
We will do a Kill la Kill.
I'd love
I want to make sure that I schedule that. Probably not this week, but probably the next week. I want to make sure that I schedule it like really early so everybody has plenty of time. And it will be late, or it may be this week. As a matter of fact, it may be doing it this week may not be a bad idea. May not be a bad idea at all. Okay, and it would be, and it would probably. The only thing is it would probably be a double. It would probably be like on a Friday or Saturday night. I don't like doubling up the hangouts anymore, but I might do a double. So does that sound okay to you guys? And like maybe next Friday or Saturday night, it would be late like this, 11-ish.
That's
yeah,
fine.
I have next Friday off, so I'm good.
Oh, we didn't.
Yeah.
Saturday. I might have a wedding.
Okay, so Friday would be good, right?
Yeah.
Friday's good for me.
Yeah.
All right, you know what? Unless I got to go out of town or something or whatever, I'll go ahead and I will go ahead and do a 11 Eastern hangout for Kill la Kill. And the last episode. Okay. All right, that's going to be it. Close out once again. I appreciate everybody with Kill la Kill. We're going to do that Friday, and we'll see. Naruto comes back this week, so we'll do one earlier on Naruto. So, all right. Until next time. Take care.